Prior to the 1920s, society saw the woman's role as getting married, having children, and staying home to tend the house. The few women who did have jobs commonly worked as domestic servants, telephone operators, and factory mill workers. These jobs were low-paying and less respected, although an acceptable occupation was teaching. This job was constraining on many levels. Female teachers were not allowed to marry or interact with any man that was not a brother or father. They couldn't leave town without permission from the chairman of the board and had strict dress codes.
And now for something completely different.
Poverty.
The Depression had meant high unemployment, so people thought the jobs available should go to men. But World War II had a major impact on the types of jobs that women could take. As men went off to fight the war, the government launched Rosie the Riveter as propaganda to support the war effort. This fictional character was supposed to be the ideal woman, loyal, efficient, patriotic, and pretty. Rosie was a success, and soon after the government commissioned the famous "We Can Do It" poster.
The jobs women got were better paying. Unfortunately, when the war ended, the majority of women were laid off and told to go back to their homes, where their kitchens awaited them.
This is kind of awkward. I mean, now that the war is over, the men have returned. I just think you're much better off making me sandwiches. I like pickles.
Well, you know what? You can go take your pickles and shove them up your ass. As women equality in the workforce progressed, the government made numerous efforts to equalize opportunities for women, such as the Equal Pay Act in 1932, which was the first federal law against sexual discrimination. The Equal Pay Act created wage equality, but to this day is only maintained in government jobs and other places where wages are published.
The following year, in 1964, Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, which prohibits employment discrimination based on color, religion, sex, or national origin, was passed.
Then, in 1972, Congress passed Title IX of the Educational Amendment Act, which prohibits discrimination based on gender educational institutions that receive federal financial assistance.
In the spring, it's going to be the 40th anniversary of Title IX. What do you think that legislation, what's the impact of that legislation on society in America?
Well, look, I am a huge believer that sports ends up being good for kids and especially good for girls. It gives them confidence, it gives them a sense of what it means to compete. Studies show that girls who are involved in athletics oftentimes end up doing better in school.
Now, wasn't that Obama-rific? Reproductive lives.
Back in 1936, Margaret Sanger's court case established the right for doctors to legally prescribe birth control devices. Birth control was an important advantage because it meant women could control their reproductive lives. They could hold off having children until they had steady careers.
No! Stop popping out those babies and start popping out degrees.
In recent years, more women are graduating from college with degrees than ever before.
Golly gee!
And the number has only been increasing since it is now expected of ladies to get a thorough education. From their higher educations, women are now able to occupy 46% of the labor workforce.
As more women work, it is no wonder that the jobs that support the economy have been changing too. Jobs rely less on physical strength and more on technology. Now, since these women can work, they are able to provide for and enhance a growing economy. The cost of living has gone up considerably. Gas, cars, property, houses, food, insurance, the list goes on, but the money doesn't.
Aww.
It is impractical with today's economy to depend on one person to make the living for a couple, let alone a family. Thanks to many generations of fighting for equality, we are now beginning to see the results in the workforce.
Although there is still much to be reached, women are willing and eager to work, and the economy permits it. This generation will continue to close the gender gap in the workforce.
Hopefully, we will also be able to resolve any remaining issues, one of which is equal pay.
Eat the sandwich.
So, how's that sandwich?
No, I mean, it's a pickle sandwich.
Well, has to be good then.
Say, what did the woman do when the tree fell on her?
The real question is, what was the tree doing in the kitchen? Try something.